Hi, I'm Chad Bettis, author of The Disciple Making Parent, and this is my audio blog where I read some of my blog posts in audio format for your convenience. In today's episode, we're going to be thinking about navigating in-law expectations. Sharon and I were leading a young marrieds group at our church, and each time we meet, we have a teaching time, and then we have a practical Q&A time. One question that came up was, how do we handle expectations of our in-laws as it relates to events and holidays? Sharon and I have thought about that both as being a young couple, but now having the perspective of being the in-laws. So here was our response. Some principles we told them to keep in mind. Number one, we encourage you to hold three values in tension. A, Genesis 2:24 makes clear that marriage establishes a new home and a new priority relationship. A man leaves his father and mother and cleaves to his wife. So our first allegiance is to our spouse and our new home. B, Scripture also calls us to honor our parents. Though we no longer have to obey them, we will always need to think about how to honor them. God placed this as one of his 10 commandments. So obviously, it's important and ongoing. C, Scripture also calls us to have a commitment to our local church. They are our brothers and sisters in the Lord. For many couples, this call will involve events that conflict with the biological family. So if your parents are Christians, then they will, theoretically at least, accept these competing interests. If they're not Christians, or maybe not mature Christians, then they will probably have a harder time. For example, I know of one single mother who expected her only son and his newlywed wife to eat lunch with her every Sunday. Well, needless to say, this caused tremendous anxiety in this young woman trying to love her husband, but also wanting to establish their own relationship. There are numerous ways that Sharon and I, imperfectly, tried to live out these three different values in tension. So since I was from the South and Sharon's parents were close by, early in our marriage, we'd often spend holidays at her parents'. We'd make regular trips at Christmas to my parents', but both sets of parents were sensitive to the demands on my time as a pastor. But at some point when we had children, we switched to having our home be the focal point of Christmas. And throughout all of life's season, we occasionally made church commitments that inconvenienced our extended family. But in all cases, we're trying to balance these three commitments. So number one, we encourage you to hold three values in tension: the priority relationship of our family and our marriage, B, honoring parents, and C, the commitment to the local church. Number two, we try to have the biological child communicate with his or her parents. Except in unusual circumstances, it's usually better for the man to communicate disappointing news to his parents and for the woman to communicate disappointing news to her parents. In a healthy relationship, there can be more expression of love even if the news is disappointing. Now, I know there are cases in an unhealthy relationship where a man may need to protect his wife from improper expectations by her mom or her dad. So the second principle here is we try to have the biological child communicate with his or her parents. A third principle we communicated with these couples was that we tried to get out ahead of holidays to set expectations. Often the offense is not the decision, but the lack of early communication about the decision. So try and think 6 months out and think about your parents' and in-laws' expectations, and then talk to your parents, talk them through your decisions. So the third principle is to get out ahead of holidays to set expectations. And fourth, we tried to keep the relationship strong in other ways. Phone calls, pictures, or texts are an easy way to show love to parents and parents-in-law without actually being at an event. We hoped that they would feel honored even if we could not come to the event. Sharon in particular did an excellent job of loving my physically distant parents and making sure that, especially as the grandchildren came along, that they were connected to their grandparents in the South. As a bonus thought, one of the couples asks us, my mom is constantly texting us about attending an all-family event like an aunt's retirement party. Your thoughts? This is how we responded. In this case, a mom who values family and extended family, which is good, is not thinking about both her son's new extra commitment to his wife and church commitments. So my suggestion was twofold. First, don't have the conversation over text. Always bump it up to the next level. We get ourselves in trouble when we try and have a conversation like this over text. Call your mom. And then express love for the person, but communicate you're not going. You have other commitments. And then second, if there's a smaller way to show love, then do that. Do something like send a card or give a quick phone call to this aunt. This article does not speak to truly unhealthy expectations by parents, but hopefully these few principles can get you thinking. And for further reading, you might also be interested in the article, Handling Grandparents Who Disagree. Thank you for listening to the Disciple Making Parent audio blog. Do you know that we send out a weekly equipping email on family discipleship? I am amazed regularly at the number of listeners who don't know about the weekly resource. It's filled with articles, links, as well as suggested resources. So just go to the website, thedisciplemakingparent.com, and sign up through the pop-up. And as a bonus, we'll give you the audiobook of The Disciple Making Parent for free. So head on over to thedisciplemakingparent.com. Thanks for listening.